So we have crossed all these milestones. The Vishaya Prapancham, Deha Prapancham, Prana Prapancham, Mano Prapancham. So with your eyes closed, attention between the eyebrows, let us spend some time on this great truth discussed in this Vivekachoodamani. So you have crossed all these milestones. The Vishaya Prapancham, Deha Prapancham. Prapancham means that which is put together from 5 elements. That's the meaning of Prapancha. Prakarshena. Put together. The Vishaya Prapancham, Deha Prapancham, Prana Prapancham. There are 5 pranas. Mana Prapancham. Manas also is put together. And Buddhi. So Vijnanamaya, Manomaya, Pranamaya, Annamaya, and then Anandamayam. And beyond Anandamaya is Anandam. That is the nature of the self, the truth, the I. The rest are all around the I. And as a spiritual teacher, seeker, our goal is to establish ourselves in that center and then look at the world. And we have also seen the relationship between the world and the spirit, consciousness and matter, Brahman and Maya, the relationship, or Satyam Mithya, the Nirguna Brahma and Saguna Brahma, the relationship, consciousness and matter. He is related like clay and the pot. Pot is not separate from clay. Pot can appear and disappear. Clay remains all the time. And there is no difference between clay and the pot. Karya karanayoho abheda. Karya is the pot, karana is the clay, and there is no difference. Both indicate the same. Similarly, the Nirguna Brahman and the Saguna world, they are not separate entities. So that metaphor, the clay and the pot, or the gold and the ring, or the what, or the ocean and the wave. So we say wave is only an appearance, pot is only an appearance. What is lasting and constant is the clay, or the ocean, or the gold. So similarly, the Panchakoshas, which are made up of the 5 elements, which is nothing but the 3 gunas, 3 energies, which are nothing but a disturbance, self-generated disturbance in consciousness. Thus we see the whole world as Chidvilasam, a play of consciousness. So we meditate on these truths. And that Brahman I am. So from Maya you go to Brahman, and Brahman you realize I am that Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. The ideas and the images guide your meditation. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharantam Agocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranadosmyaham. So we come to the 330th sloka. We have to go a little fast. Today the last day I had to cover few slokas. So pardon me if I am a little swift and fast. So 330th sloka. Mritkarya bhuto bimrudo na bhinnaha. 230th sloka. Vivekachoodamani. Vivekachoodamani 330. Mritkarya bhuto bimrudo na bhinnaha. Kumbhosti sarvatra tu mrsvarubhad. Na kumbharubam pratagasti kumbha. Kuto mrisha kalpita nama matraha. So you take the example of the pot and the clay. 330th sloka. Sorry, 230th sloka. In Vivekachoodamani. I hope you have got the right book. Vivekachoodamani, not Bhagavad Gita. So 230th sloka. Let's read it once again. Mritkarya bhuto bimruto na bhinnaha. Kumbhosti sarvatra tu mrsvarubhad. Na kumbharubam pratagasti kumbha. Kuto mrisha kalpita nama matraha. So let's take this metaphor, a pot and the clay. So pot is called the karyam, clay is called the karana. Clay is the cause and the pot is the effect. There is no difference between the cause and effect there. You cannot take the pot away from the clay because pot has no existence other than the clay. But clay is permanent, pot is impermanent. Pot appears and disappears, clay doesn't appear and disappear. So clay, pot is only vikara, a modification, a temporary vikara. As a temporary vikara, it gains an akara. So vikaram, akaram. At the same time, it is not away from the clay. Actually, there is only clay. Karya-karanayo abheda. The cause and effect is non-separate. It's not like a father and son. Father and son is separate from the father or separate from the mother. Or like a potter and the potter. Potter is separate from the pot. But here, the clay and the pot, there is no separation whatsoever. So that is the kind of relationship that exists between Brahman or consciousness and the world, the material world. Material world is only a modification. It's a disturbance in Brahman, you say, disturbance in consciousness. So when you see the world, you are seeing Brahman only. When you look at a pot, you are seeing clay only. You are seeing only clay, isn't it? When you look at a pot, what are you seeing? Nothing but the clay. You name it a pot. That is only Nama and Rupa. Rupa is not lasting. Rupa is only a vikara, modification. So, when you see the world, when you see the building, tree, animals, etc., human beings, you are only seeing Brahman. But you need that eye to see that. Just as when you see the pot, you see only the clay. When you see the ring, you see only the gold. So don't run around looking for Brahman. Brahman, kanu kanume Bhagavan, isn't it? Brahman is everywhere. Tell me where it is not. Like Guru Nanak went to Mecca and he was sleeping with his feet towards the Kaaba. Kaaba is the stone which they worship. So one of the faithful Muslim came, oh, you are doing something very wrong. This is sacrilege, this is heresy, this is blasphemy. Your feet is turned towards the Kaaba, the stone, the sacred center. So Guru Nanak says, okay, then you move my feet. Wherever Kaaba is, Bhagavan is not there. So wherever they moved the feet, the Kaaba also moved there. A particular stone moved there, meaning Bhagavan is everywhere, he says. So therefore, one has to realize when you look at the world, you are seeing Brahman. When you close the eyes, you are seeing Brahman. When you open the eyes, you are seeing Brahman. And the seer is Brahman. The seen is Brahman. That kind of a holistic vision. And that kind of holistic vision means you are friendly with everyone. You are friendly with everyone. You have a loving, respectful relationship with everyone. You can tolerate everyone. Toleration. So you see yourself everywhere. Everybody is a reflection of you, that Atman, not the body, the Atman is. So this is the kind of knowledge we have to cultivate. So mritkarya bhudo bimritaha na binnaha kumbha, he said. So kumbha, the pot, though it's a mritkaryam, is a modification of clay, that pot is not away from the clay. Kumbhosti sarvatratu mrussarubat, because all over the pot there is a mrit only. All over, wherever you take any portion of the pot, it is only clay. So why do you say pot? Just for convenience, I said. That is another word indicating the same thing. When you touch the pot, you are touching the clay. So therefore there is only clay. Na kumbharupam pradagasti. There is no pot. Pot has no separate identity. Pradag nasti. Na kumbharupam pradagasti. Kumbhaha kuda. Oh, why do you say it's kumbha? Where is this pot? I don't see the pot. I see only the clay. Do you see the pot now? No. When you know that pot is nothing but the clay, I see only the clay, I don't see the pot. This is what Buddha. Ananda brought a pot. Buddha said this is clay. Ananda said this is pot. Isn't it? Buddha said, where is the pot? I don't see the pot, I see only the clay. It was made up of the clay. So that's the idea. Na kumbharupam pratavasti. So then there is a new word for that. Kumbham is mrisha. It is an appearance. It is an appearance in the clay. Kalpidam nama matra. It is only kalpidam, imagined. You and I, in our culture, we say it's a pot. It's a pot. But people have no idea of a pot or the use of the pot. For them, it is only clay. It is only clay. So this is a cultural construct. A pot is a cultural construct, not a spiritual construct. Na kumbharupam pratagasti mrisha kalpidam nama matra. It is only a name. Nothing more than this. So the whole world is a name and form. Continuing. Kena bimrudbhinna daya sarubam gadasya sandarshayadum na shakyade ado ghada kalpida eva mohad mrideva satyam paramartha budam kena bimrudbhinna daya sarubam ghadasya sandarshayadum na shakyade ado ghada kalpida eva mohad mrideva satyam paramartha budam mrudbhinna daya ghadasya sarubam sandarshayadum na shakyade kenabi. Nobody can show a pot other than the clay. Kenabi na shakyade. Nobody can show. When you touch the pot, you are touching the clay only. So nobody, kenabi, mrudbhinnadaya ghadasya sarupam. Ghada is not an independent existence other than the clay. Adaha ghadaha kalpida eva. So ghada is a social construct, is a linguistic construct. Actually what is there is only the pot. The pot may serve your purpose. That is possible. You can fetch water, the pot. But that is in the cultural context. It has got a purpose. It doesn't have a purpose for let us say, for a lion. It doesn't have a purpose. It is only human beings. They say this is a pot, it has got a purpose. But from the universe standpoint, there is only clay. From a higher standpoint, there is only clay. From the human standpoint, there may be, you can say it's a pot. That's only a temporary nomenclature for the pot, for the clay. So, ada ghadaha kalpyada eva mohad mrideva satyam paramartha. Between the pot and the clay is the only truth. The rest are all names, stories, constructs, cultural construct. For example, this table, we say it's a table, but this is only wood. Let's say somebody is in the forest who has never seen the table, who is looking for some firewood. When you see the table, for him, this is only firewood. This is not a table for him. Table is a particular use for a cultured person who can write and something. But in a villager or a tribal who doesn't write, for him this table has no meaning. He will see only the wood there. So from a deeper standpoint, these are all constructs. We construct, imagine things, find some use temporarily. And that use also, if you have no firewood and you are desperately looking for firewood, even you will use it as a firewood, isn't it? So these are all names, no reality for it. Similarly, the world is nothing other than Brahman, he said. Therefore, there is no point in saying the world, it is only Brahman. Vishnumayam sarvam, Shivamayam sarvam, Chinmayam sarvam. At the same time, when you want to fetch water, you will go and take the pot. And you say, this is the pot. Whatever you are taking is only the clay. So that drishti, when you see the pot, you must also see the clay. Karye karana darshanam, you say. So that understanding is very complex understanding. I see the pot, I use the pot, but at the same time, I see there are many pots. Among all the pots, there is only one clay. So our ability to see the cause behind the effect, along with the effect, that is called wisdom. That is called wisdom. That's why in our ancient cultures, you will always ask, who is your father? Who is your mother? It's not enough that I am in front of you, my name is this, my qualification is not enough. No. I want to know your father, your family background, your belief system, to understand you. Otherwise, what is presented to me is not your whole personality. So we always say his father. And father's name Raman, not enough. Grandfather name Raman Nair, understood. Isn't it? So then you need some more information just to put you in a place, fix you, to understand who you are. So continuing, I am going a little fast. Sadbrahma karyam sagalam sadaiva sanmatramedad natado nyadasti asti diyo bhaktina tasya mohaha vinirgado nidridavat prajalpaha sat brahma karyam sagalam sadaiva sanmatramedad natadonyadasti asti diyo bhaktina tasya mohaha vinirgado nidridavat prajalpaha. So similarly, Satkarya, Sadbrahma Karyam, what is true is Brahman, and the word is the effect of that Brahman, is a modification in that Brahman, without Brahman undergoing intrinsic change. Certain things, they undergo intrinsic change. For example, when you make curd out of milk, milk molecules undergo change and become curd molecules. You cannot reverse the process. That's a linear process. Milk you cannot convert to, I needed milk, not curd. You made a mistake. Then can you convert curd into milk? No. Unless you feed it to the cow and then milk the cow. You cannot convert. You cannot reverse the process. But there are certain things you can reverse. For example, you make a ring out of gold. Then you think, no, I don't need a ring, I need a chain. Then immediately you can melt it. But in curd case, you cannot do that. So there are certain change which cannot be resolved or taken back or reversed. But there are certain things which you can reverse. So the relation between gold and ring is a reversible relationship. Actually, there is no ring. Similarly, Sat Brahma Karyam Sagalam. Whatever is an effect of Brahman, whatever is emerged from Brahman, that is Brahman only, you say. Meaning, whatever you see here, that also is Brahman. So, Sat Brahma Karyam Sagalam Sadeva Brahma Eva. That also is Brahman. Sanmatramedadna tadahanyadasti. So all these are nothing but Sat. Whatever you see. When you touch that wall, you are touching Brahman, you say. Touching yourself. Why not? When I touch the wall, I am touching myself, you say. That's how the understanding. So Sadbrahma Karyam Sagalam Sadeva Sanmatramedadna tadahanyadasti. Nothing is other than Brahman. The Brahman is called Sat. Sanmatram, everything is conscious. Asthidiyaha bhakti. Somebody says, no, there is a separate entity. Brahman is so pure and transcendental and beyond all this. This is all terrestrial and miserable things. So anybody creates such a division. Asthidiyaha bhakti. Na tasya mohaha vinirgadaha. He is still deluded, you say. He is still deluded. He has not seen the unity of things. Asthidiyo bhakti. Na tasya mohaha vinirgadaha. Nidridavat prajalpaha. He is like a dream person. A dream person says, oh, tiger is chasing me and all that. When you wake up, no tiger, no chasing, nothing. So in the awakened state, you see everything as one. You see differences, but you don't see division. You see a pot here, small pot, big pot, cup, saucer, jar. You see these differences, but you don't see any division, you see. All of them are the same clay, made up of the clay. So that drishti, that unity, wish. So we must be able to have that vision and then deal with this apparently dualistic world. Conflicted, fighting, dualistic world. So with this unity vision, when you deal with the apparently divisive world, you can nuance your response. Nuance your response. You know, ultimately everything is one. Like a grandmother seeing grandchildren fighting. They are fighting for a toy. One child says, I need this toy. Second also says, I need this toy. There is only one toy. They are fighting. What will be the grandmother's attitude? She will watch for some time. She will enjoy their fight. It is too much, she will interfere. And she may not beat them up. She may just smack them a little bit. Nuanced response, because you have this background. So I will say Vedanta is grandma wisdom. Children are fighting. But how she responds to that? She will wait. She will try to pacify them. And still they are not listening. She will just pretend she is smacking them. And still is not working, she will smack them softly. Still doesn't work, hardly. Or hard, not hardly, hard, isn't it? So this way you can nuance your response. That is very, very important. Otherwise you will be coming with a sledgehammer. To kill the rat, you put the house on fire. You don't do that. You have to identify the problem, quarantine the problem, and address the issue. Like a surgery. Where the cancer cell is, that alone is to be removed. So that kind of a nuanced, thoughtful, reflective response, which is very, very important. Otherwise you will be throwing the baby with the bathwater. Don't do that. So Satbrahma karyam sagalam sadaiva sanmatramedat natadasti anyadasti astideyo vakti natasya mohaha vinirgadaha nidridavat prachalpaha. He is only blabbering, you say. In sleep sometimes you blabber, something like that. Meaning you are still under the spell of ignorance. You are not transcended that. So how do you operationalize all? How do you live this knowledge in life? Of course we have these mantras. Egam sat vipraha dagudavadandi agnim yavam madharishvanamavano madragradavo yandavishadaha. Or Vasudevachoodamani ayam nijaparo vedi ganana likhujeda samudara charidanam tu Vasudevachoodamani, isn't it? Don't you say all this? You say all this. Or Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya. You don't say, my enemy should go to hell in the prayer. Isn't it? Sarve bhavantu sukhina. In sarve, your enemy also included. They are not excluded. So all our prayers are like that. Bhadram karne vishnuyamadeva. All our prayers are. Because we see the whole universe as one person. Any point, anywhere, there is a pain, it will be spreading anywhere else, everywhere else. So that kind of sensitivity. Continuing, Brahme Vedam Vishwamityeva Vani Shraudi Brude Adharvanishta Varishta Tasmadedad Brahma Matram Hi Vishwam Nadhishtana Bhinnadaro Vidasya. Therefore, declaration, Brahma eva idam Vishwamityeva Vani. Vani means the sayings of the scripture, Upanishad, Vani. Brahma eva idam Vishwamityeva Vani. Shraudi Vani is Shruti, Upanishad. So the saying, declaration of the Upanishad says, everything is Brahman. Everything is consciousness. Everything is happiness. Everything is meaningful. Everything has got a place. You cannot take one cell from you. Even one cell misbehaves, the whole body suffers, isn't it? Which is called cancer. A couple of cells decide to misbehave, then the whole body suffers. Or you take one brick from that pillar, the whole building collapses. It seems that one little brick, but that little brick has got a very, very important place in the whole structure. Or the strength of a chain is the strength of the weakest link in the chain, isn't it? So that kind of a understanding, Brahma eva idam Vishwa, ityeva Shraudi Vani, the statement of the Shruti, Brude, Adharvanishta, Adharva Veda, there is one Upanishad called Mundaka Upanishad, Mundaka Mandukal Adharva Veda. So Mundaka Upanishad says, Brahme Vedamidam Sarvam Vasishtarishta. Chandogya Upanishad also says, Brahman is everything is. Tattvamasi, Chandogya Upanishad. And Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma, another Chandogya statement. All this come in the Veda. So Bhrude Atharvanishta Varishta. Varishta means most noble statements. Tasmadedat Brahma Matram. So our pramana for saying that everything is Brahman is the Upanishad. And the words of the enlightened people, Rishis, Munis, Yogis, Sannyasis and all that. So Brahma eva idam Vishwamityeva Vani Shraudi Brude Adharvanishta Varishta Tasmadeda Brahma Matram Hi Vishwam. Vishwam is Vivida Pratyayamyam. Whatever my thought sets up, the world. Brahma Matram Hi Vishwam. Adhishtana the Bhinnada Arobhidasya. So Adhishtanam and Adhishteyam. Adhishtanam means the substratum. Adhishteyam is what is superimposed substratum. For example, the table and the book, they are separate. I can take the book, still the table is there. That is one example. But that's not the example which is applicable here in this case. The example is, as I told you, the clay and the pot. You cannot take the pot from the clay. It's not possible. When you take the pot, clay also comes. But pot comes and goes. So just as you cannot say Adhishtana the Bhinnada Arobhidasya. Arobhidasya, the imagined pot, cannot be separated from the real clay. Similarly, the world is not separate. You cannot take it away from Brahman. It is only an appearance of Brahman. Continuing. You meditate on that. If you have any different opinion, you can quote Sankhya, you can quote modern science, modern science also slowly coming to this unity vision. Slowly coming to the unity vision. But there are people who say 2, 3, some people everything made up of 3, everything made up of 5, everything made up of from nothing. That also is there. Shunya sarvam jayate. Everything comes from Shunya. So we are not accepting any of those theories. We say something positive, that consciousness and appearance, everything appears there. So, Nadhishtana, this is a very important statement. Adhishtana bhinnada arobhidasya. What is superimposed cannot be separate from the substratum on which it is superimposed. Isn't it? So meditate on that. Now, Satyam yadi syad jagade dadatmanaha anandatvahani nigama pramanada asatyavaditvam abhishidu syad nedatrayam sadhu idam mahatmanam satyam yadi syad jagade damatmanaha anandatvahani nigama pramanada asatyavaditvam abhishidu syad nedatrayam sadhu idam mahatmanam satyam yadi syad jagada edada. If you say this world is independently existing, it has got an independent existence, other than consciousness, other than Brahman. Satyam yadi syad jagada edada, this world which you see, atmanaha anandatvahani, then Atma, the truth will be compromised, he said. Anandatvam, truth is infinite, all encompassing. So there is a truth or Brahman and there is a world separate. Both of them will cancel each other. Because Brahman is separate, world also separate. That means they limit each other. Where Brahman is there, world is not there. Where world is there, Brahman is not there. They are separate. If they are separate, they are finite. If they are finite, they will have a beginning and end. That's the meaning of finite. When they have beginning and end, they will disappear. So you cannot say there are two. Two will be in a mutual suicide. They will fight at each other. They will limit each other. And finally it will end up in shunyata, you say. Non-existent. So therefore, I cannot accept there are two. I cannot accept anything which limits Brahman. That's not possible. It's not possible logically. So anandatvahani atmanaha, that will compromise on the infinitude of the Brahman or Atma. Because you are positing two things. One limits the other, isn't it? Here is a table, here is a chair. Where the chair ends, the table begins. Where the table ends, the chair begins. They are cancelling each other. Cancel culture. It's not acceptable. Then that will lead to the final non-existent, abhava, which cannot be accepted. So satyam yadi syad jagadetad atmanaha anandatvahani, Atma will become finite. Truth will become finite. Your truth and my truth. Anandatvahani, nigama pramana, then you will be going against the declaration of the scriptures. The scripture says Atma eva idam sarva. Brahma eva idam sarva. So you are saying there is something more other than Brahman. So you are contradicting the scripture. You are a Nastika, I say. Who is a Nastika who doesn't believe in the statement of the scripture? You are an atheist. I have nothing to do with it. You can go and propagate whatever you want. Don't expect me to join you, he said. So anandatvahani, nigama means shastra, Upanishad, etc. Apramanada, you are contradicting the pramanyam, the authority of the scriptures. Asatyavaditvam abhishidu. Similarly, you say Bhagavan is telling a lie. Bhagavan, where is that? Anadimad param brahma, nyayam yattad pravashyam, yajnatvam dhammashanude, anadimat param brahma, nasattanna saduchade, sarvada panipadam dada. So that statement. Similarly, maya tatamidam sarvam, jagadavyakthamurtina, mastani sarvabhudani, najaham deshavastida, najamastani bhudani, pashyame yogamaishwaram, bhuda bhruddha, najabhudastaha, mamatma bhuda bhava. I have become everything. So these great statement of Krishna, Lord Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita also will be contradicted by you. And you say, I am a Bhakta of Krishna. Asatyavaditvam abhishudu. Isha here is Krishna's statement. You are contradicting, falsifying Bhagavad Gita statement in this. And you are a tiny little thing standing there. Asatyavaditvam abhishudu swada. Na edatrayam sadhuhidam mahatmanam. This is not acceptable to good people, you say. People are good, responsible people. They won't accept these kind of things. So therefore, I am also, I'm not joining you, you see. You can propagate your philosophy, but I am not joining. Anything which compromises the infinitude of Brahman, I am not for that. And that Brahman I am. So it's not accepted. Continuing. Ishvaro vastu tattvajnaha nachaham tesha vastitaha nachamastani bhutani ityevameva vijikatad. Ishvaro vastu tattvajnaha nachaham tesha vastitaha nachamastani bhutani ityevameva vijikatad. Ishvaraha vastu tattvajnaha. In knowing the truth, asmagam pramanam him. What is the means of knowing the truth? Or knowing my essential nature. And this person, I know a little bit about me. I am this body, I am this, I am that. But what is my essential nature? In knowing the truth, what is the pramana? Pramana means of knowing. Shruti is the pramana, he says. Shastra pramanam. So there is no other pramana for that. Not you look through the microscope, telescope, periscope and all those scopes. You see only limited things. You don't see the whole truth in its full blast. So in knowing the truth, asmagam pramana, what is the pramana? And that is Shastra. And or Ishvara is it. Ishvara is our, Krishna is our partner. Bhagavad Gita is our partner. Upanishad is our partner. In knowing the whole truth. Knowing limited things you can take to science and all that. So, Ishvaraha vastu tattvajnaha. Ishvara is the knower of the vastu. Vastu means the truth. What's there? Vastu. Ishvaraha vastu tattvajnaha. And what does Bhagavan say in Bhagavad Gita? Nachaham tesha vastitaha nachamastani bhutani pashyame yogameshwaram. Like that. This is the 13th chapter. No, not 13th chapter. It's in the 9th chapter. Okay, 9. Till you verify that 9th chapter, let's accept that. So it's in the 9th chapter accepted. And there he says, Maya tadamidam sarvam jagadavyaktam murtina mastani sarvabhudani najaham tesha vastida najamastani bodhani pashyame yogameshwaram bodha brudha najabodhastaha amatma bodha. What does it mean? Bhagavan says, Krishna says, Maya tadamidam sarvam, I pervade everything. I pervade. Brahmagi stambha paryanta. Even a grain of sand trodden under your feet, heavy boot, even that Bhagavan pervades, you say. Up to Brahma. Bhagavan pervades it. Maya tadamidam sarvam jagada. Jagada means this world, whatever is there in the world. Maya tadamidam sarvam jagad. Avyakta murtina. I have no particular form, he said. Avyakta murtina. I have no particular form. But I can take any form. Avyaktam, not defined form for Bhagavan. He can be Sarvamurti, Egamurti, Bahumurti, all these apart. So Maya tadamidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. Mastani sarva bodhani. All the beings are in me. Najaham tesha avastha, but I am not in them. Look at Bhagavan's description of himself. Mastani sarva bodhani, najaham tesha avastha, I am not in them. Why? Why? Because these things keep changing. They give up their form. When they change, I don't change. I don't disappear. It's like the ocean. Ocean waves, bubbles appear. They say, ocean says these bubbles are in me. But when the bubble bursts, ocean doesn't disappear. Isn't it? The ocean survives the bursting of the bubbles. That is why Bhagavan says, I am not in that bubble. I am not in a particular object. Because when the particular object changes, I don't change. When a ring melts, gold doesn't disappear. So, Mastani Sarva Bodhani, they exist in me, but I don't exist. Then Bhagavan says, another Swami result. Bhagavan says, they are not in me. Najamastani Bodhani. These objects are not in me. What do you mean? Just now you said they are in you. Now you are saying they are not in me. Why do you say that? Because this object has no separate existence other than me. So the ocean says, bubbles are in me. I am not in the bubble because when a bubble bursts, nothing happened to the ocean. Now the Bhagavan says, the bubbles are not in me because the bubble is me. They are not a separate entity. They are not a separate entity. Mamatma Bodha Bhavana, I say. I have become everything. So there is no relationship between this. This is me. That's a very profound slogan. Very profound slogan. So that's why he said, Ishvaro vastu tattvajnaha najaham tesha avastitaha najamastani bodhani, they are not in me. Why? Mamatma bodha bhavanaha. I myself appear as the world. So they are not sitting. So the ocean, the water does not say, oh, these waves and bubbles, these waves are sitting on me and I am having a neck pain, let's say, or a backache, because these waves are sitting on me. Or the gold says, because the ring is sitting on me, I am tired. The gold doesn't say that. The gold doesn't have any weight, feeling of being weighed down by the ring, he says. Because they are not separate, they are the one and the same thing. That's why Bhagavan says, Mamatma Bodha Bhavana, I myself have become the world without undergoing any change. Pashyame Yogam Aishwaram. Look at the magic of my creation, he said. Ishwarasya idam yogam, there yoga means the srishti. Ishwarasya idam srishti, look at this magnificence. So Najamastani Bodhani, Tyevameva Vichikadada, that's how Bhagavan explains the relationship with the world. Continuing. Yadi satyam bhaved vishwam sushuptau ubalabhyadam yanno balabhyade kinchida ado sat swapnavad mrisha. Yadi satyam bhaved vishwam sushuptau ubalabhyadam yanno balabhyade kinchida ado asat swapnavad mrisha. Some padachedam. Yadi satyam bhaved vishwam sushuptau ubalabhyadam yada na ubalabhyade kinchid adaha asad swapnavad mrisha. If the world is real, another absolutely real, independently real, then when you go to sleep, the world should not disappear, should be there. But in will everything disappears. In sleep. They resolve and then they come out. So, yadi satyam bhaved vishwam sushuptau balabhyada. In sleep also you must be experiencing the world, he says. Yadna balabhyade, that's not the case. Kinchita. Ada hasad swapnavad mrisha. Therefore, this world is equivalent to a dream, he says. Dream lasts for 5 seconds, world lasts for 50 years, that's it. But what is 50 years? That's nothing. That's like a flash in a frying pan, you say. That's nothing. Then don't you say that? When you are 80, when we look back, it's all gone. Everything just faster forward, isn't it? Everything gone, 50, 80 years. But when you are in that time doesn't move. When you are appearing for the examination, impending examination, days and time never move. But when you look back, it's all a flash in a frying pan, you say. So, Swapnavad Mishra, continuing. Atha pradannasti jagat paratmanaha pradhak pradidhistu mrisha gunahivad arovidasyasti gimarthavatta adhishtanamabhadi tatha bhramena adha pradannasti jagat paratmanaha pradhak pradidhistu mrisha gunahivad आरोपितस्यास्ति किमर्थवत्ता अधिष्ठानमाभाति तथा भ्रमेण अथ पृथग्नास्ति जगत्परात्मनः. So there is a final conclusion, Siddhanta. The final conclusion Siddhanta means world is not pृथक्, separate from Paratmanaha. So the world that you see is not separate from you. It is your own extension. The person who sits in front of me, my own extension. This wall is my own extension. That I accept. You look like a wall. You are like sitting like a wall, isn't it? So this is my own extension. Everything is my own extension. So, atha pruthak nasti jagad paratmanaha pruthak pradidhisti. If you think they are separate, mrisha gunahivad. It is a false notion, you see. To take the world as separate from you is a false perception. Gunahivad, like you saw. And you have a tendency to do that. You see the rope as a snake. You see curvature in the sky. You see blueness in the sky, which is not there. You see the earth is flat, which is not true. You see sunrise and sunset, which is not true. Isn't it? You see you are mortal, which is not true. You see you are unhappy, which is not true. Isn't it? So all these are false. You are living in a world of false. So, pradhak pradidhistu mrisha gunahivad. We have this tendency to imagine and to fabricate things. Fabrication is our nature, isn't it? We want to fabricate things. Everything is a fabrication. So this way, so pradhak pradidhistu mrisha gunahivad. Ahi means snake, guna means a rope. So just as you saw the snake on the rope, or you saw mirage, water, mirage. You see, but it's not there. So, arobhidasya asti kimarthavatta is. Arobhidam which is superimposed. Arobhidam. So the world is superimposed upon Brahman. It's a thought. It's a thought. It's a collective thought. So, what you superimpose, the snake superimposed upon the rope has no reality. It doesn't disturb the rope at all. It doesn't disturb the rope at all. So, arobhidasya asti kim arthavata is. What meaning is there? What you are superimposing is. Adhishtanam abhadita brahmana. It is the same substratum, gold, appearing as the ring, he said. Ring doesn't make any. So, adhishtanam is a substratum, abhadi appears, yada brahmana, by delusion, not knowing the whole truth. You are fabricating truth. It's a post truth, fabricated truth. It's not the real. Because if you don't know the whole truth, anything can be sold to you. What is going on in the internet is that. You have no clue what's going on. So somebody creates a story and you believe that story. And then you act upon it. And you vote accordingly. Isn't it? And then you create a government accordingly. And then later you say what happened. Then you put down that government, another false truth comes. So this way, arobhidasya, the real truth is not. You are only seeing the fabricated, imagined thing, because you don't know the whole truth. That's the truth. So adhishthanamabhati tada brahmena. Brahmena means here, not knowing the whole truth, you create a false thing. You create. With limited data, you start creating information. That information doesn't represent the truth, reality. And that is circulated. Then you are adding on to that. Trolling and trailing and all that. On this little fiction. Because the whole truth is, what is the whole truth? You have to include you also. The seeker of the truth should be included in it. That's not included. As a result of that, your knowledge is half knowledge. Half knowledge is no knowledge. Dangerous knowledge. Adhishthanamabhati tada brahmena. Continuing. I am going a little fast. Because the foundation has been laid, isn't it? It's easy for you to read, do some homework. Brandasya yadyat brahmada pradidam brahmaiva tattad rajadam hi sukti idandaya brahma sadeva rupyade arobidam brahmani nama matram brandasya yadyat brahmada pradidam brahmaiva tattad rajadam hi sukti idandaya brahma sadeva rupyade tu arobidam brahmani nama matram brandasya yada brahmadaha pradidam brahma eva tad rajadam hi shukti idandaya brahma sadeva rupyade tu arobidam brahmani nama matram. So brandaha, we are all mad people. Seeing things which are not there. That's called madness. You imagine. So Shankara calls us mad people, bad boys, mad people. So Brandasya, this madman, yada brahmadaha pradidam, whatever he sees out of his delusion, you see. So there is equivalent to the world that you see and give reality to that is out of not knowing the truth and then imagining something upon the truth. So brandasya yaddad brahmada pradidam brahmaiva tattad. So whatever you say as the world is nothing but Brahman, you say. Nothing but you create a division between the transcendental and the terrestrial. God and the world, Atman and the world, you and I, all kind of difference. This is Brahanda. This is childish. This childishness is Brahanda. So, Brahmaiva tattad, all these are nothing but Brahman. Like Rajadam hi shukti, he says. You saw some piece of silver on the seashore, you picked it up. It's not silver, it's only a pearl, a shell, seashell, that's all. But you took it for a silver, out of your greed, took it for a silver. Actually it's only a seashell. Similarly, what you say the world is for a jnani is Brahman. For a jnani, that's nothing but Brahman, you say. Idandaya brahma sadeva rupyade. Idandaya means this, which is indicating the world. This is nothing but I. So idandaya brahma sadeva rupyade. So you are imagining the world in Brahman. And the Brahman himself is imagining. Let me go one more step further. Brahman itself is imagining the world. It's a dream in Brahman. Vishnu is dreaming as the world. Stories are there. Vishnu is sleeping, Ananda Shayanam, and is dreaming, the world appears. When he wakes up, there is no world. That's the truth. When you wake up, there is no world. Other than that. Meaning, there is no world which will provoke a desire in you to control, conquer, exploit. That world is not there. And then you coexist with things, with the world. So the desire to conquer, control, exploit, destroy the other, eat up the other, digest the other. Instead of that, you are happy to coexist with everyone. The philosophy of coexistence, not colonization. So idandaya brahma sadeva rupyade arovidam brahmani nama matram. So for an enlightened person, there is no difference between the world and the Brahmani. The Brahmajnani is comfortable in the world. A Brahmajnani is not comfortable. He thinks the world is going to eat them up. He feels overwhelmed by the world because he identifies just the body. When he identifies with the body, the whole world reduces into a pinpoint. When he identifies with consciousness, you reduce the world into a bubble in that consciousness. It depends upon which standpoint you take. So, idandaya brahma sadeva rupyade arobhyadam brahmani nama matram. So that hiatus, that gap between the world and the Brahman is taken out. It's only Brahman overflows, flowers, blooms as the world. Continuing. Adah param brahma sadadvidiyam vishuddha vijnana ghanam niranjanam prashantam adyanta vihinam akriyam nirandara anantara saswarupam adah param brahma sadadvidiyam vishuddha vijnana ghanam niranjanam prashantam adyanta vihinam akriyam nirandara anantara saswarupam. So the Brahmajnanam swallows up the world and digests the world. The world is no more undigested material sitting in your mind, constantly struggling with that. The world has become part of your DNA, let's say. Let me put it that way. So the world is not your enemy. The world is your playground. It's your tool that you use. So ataha param brahma sadadvidiyam. As a result, this param brahma is sada advidiyam. It's the only truth. There's no other truth. Advidiyam. No dvidiyam. Vishuddha vijnana ghanam. All this we have explained. Vishuddham, you are pure because there is no second. Vijnana ghanam, a mass of consciousness. Niranjanam, pure. Prashantam, deep peace. Adyanta vihinam, no beginning or end. Akriyam, there is no tremor. There is no tremor in that. Akriyam. No vibration. It's very shanta. Mahada ahradavada. Like the deep ocean. There is no nothing. It doesn't overflow. So, vihinam akriyam. Nirandarananda rasaswarupam. And that state is nirandaranandam. Unbroken joy, rasaswarupam, a sense of bliss. Rasa means bliss. Nature is bliss. That's your nature. That's why. You may sitting like a question mark there, or like in a fetal pose. It doesn't matter. Your essential nature is there. So stand up. Declare to the whole world. Aham brahmasmi. Continuing. Nirastamaya kruta sarva bhedam. Nityam dhruvam nishkalama prameyam arupam avyaktam anakyam avyayam jodhisvayam kinjididam chakasti nirastamaya kruta sarva bhedam nityam dhruvam nishkalama prameyam Arubam avyaktam anakyam avyayam Jyoti swayam kinchididam chakasti. So nirasta mayakrita sarva bhedam. All divisions, bhedam. I and you and the other. Consciousness and matter. All kind of division. Nirasta mayakrita division. That divisions are created when you take yourself to be the body. In a state of ignorance. That's the Maya. Mayakrita nirasta bhedam. All such divisions are removed. Sarva bhedam. Nirasta mayakrita sarva bhedam. Nityam dhruvam nishkalam aprameyam. This is truth. You are the truth. We are talking about you. You are that Brahman, isn't it? So let us take it as ourselves. So you don't see any division. Differences you may see, but there is no division. Differences are supervision. That's supervision. So nirasta mayakrita sarva bhedam nityam. You are eternal. Dhruvam, stable. Nishkalam. Kala means there is no part. You are not put together like a machine. A machine, you take one part from here, one screw from here, one piston from here, then you put together. That's a humbug. You are not like a machine. You are a whole person. So, nirasta mayakrita sarva vedam nityam dhruvam nishkalam aprameyam, immeasurable. You cannot be measured. You cannot be pinned down into certain numbers. Not possible. Nirasta mayakrita sarva vedam nityam dhruvam nishkalam aprameyam. You cannot be measured. You cannot be objectified. Prameyam. You cannot be objectified. Arubam, you have no particular form. You have no particular form. This form keep on changing. Body keep on changing, isn't it? When I saw you 10 years ago, you are so dazzling and wonderful. Now you look run down and tired and exhausted. Physically. Physical body goes through this change. So, but you really, arubam, you have no particular form. So that you can assume any form. Arubam. Avyaktam. Avyaktam means unmanifest. Which have not even open architecture, let's say. Avyaktam. You can do anything. You can be anything. Avyaktam. You have an open architecture. You can create yourself the way you want because you are that infinite resource. So, arubam avyaktam anakhyam. You cannot be named and pinned down. Anakhyam. But my name is so and so. That's a name given by your parents, identifying with your body. That's not your real name. My real name is Satchidananda. So arubam avyaktam anakyam avyayam. No vedi, no modification. Jyoti. So what are you? I am pure light. I am very light and I am light also. Both way. Jyoti. Swayam. Kinchida. Idam. Chakasti. Aparokshadaya chakasti prakashade. This is how I exist. I exist as pure light, pure joy, pure bliss, pure possibility. That's why a Mahatma cannot be predicted. You cannot predict his behavior or her behavior. Ordinary people you can predict. If I say I'll give you 1 crore rupees, come into that burial ground at dead of the night, you will come. I am sure. Or each one of you will come. Even if you resist it. If I tell you I'll give you 1 crore, come to that place or rub your nose on the ground or stand on your head, you are ready to do because 1 crore you are getting. I can predict I can manipulate your behavior. But not a Mahatma's behavior. You can offer something, you can withdraw something, you can praise him, you can criticize. Mahatma will behave as he should. So you cannot twist his arm. There is no button to press. So it is beyond your control. So unpredictable. Predictability is the quality of fools, they say. Everything is predictable. Build a machine. You can predict a machine's behavior. But not because there is something deeper than what you see. So, arupam avyaktam anakyam avyayam jyotisvayam kinjididam chakasti. That's how this enlightened person exists, live and interact. Continuing. Jnadri jnana jnaya shunyam anantam nirvikalpagam. Jnadri jnana jnaya shunyam anandam nirvikalpagam kevala khanda chinmatram param tattvam vidurbhudaha. Again, jnadri jnana jnaya shunyam, beyond. This is called tribudis. Jnadra means knower, jnana means knowing, jnayam means the known object. All our experience are in terms of this tribudi. I here see the table and seeing the table or hearing or touching. So these three factors are there in any experience. Knower, known object, and the knowing, connecting them. That's called knowledge. So that's as far as the ordinary perception is concerned. In the ultimate reality, these divisions are not there. Meaning, I am knowing myself. I cannot know myself, I can be. So you cannot say, oh, in that state I know myself. You cannot create the division. So it is beyond all division. So jnadri jnana jnayeshu. So this is aparokshanubodhi, where these divisions are not there. Like the light. Light illumines itself. There is no instrument of illumination. It knows itself, it illumines itself. There is no division in the light. So in this supreme light, there is no division. So when you are an enlightened person, you don't claim I am enlightened. Avijnadam vijanadam vijnadam avijanadam. Don't make that claim, I am enlightened. Don't go around beating the drum or on top of the housetop and say I am enlightened. You don't say that. You become humble. You have no need to prove you are enlightened. You don't need validation. After eating a good meal, you appeased your hunger, then will you ask your host, did I appease my hunger? You don't have that. You are your own authority. So there is no tom-tom in this experience. That's why jnana, then technically we say that vritti vyapti no bhala vyapti. In ordinary cases, when I see a pot, that pot creates a vritti. Then I say I am seeing the pot, that's a bhala. I am seeing the pot. Whereas here, you are seeing yourself, experiencing yourself. And there is nobody to say also. Isn't it? There is only one. So mauna vyakya, you become quiet, silent. That does not mean you don't speak. You speak ordinary things. But you don't proclaim your achievement. So jnadri jnaya jnana shunyam anandam nirvikalpagam. Anandam, infinite, nirvikalpagam. There is no vikalpa, there is no tremor. Kevala akhanda chinmatram. Khanda chinmatram. Unbroken consciousness. There is no walls. There is no walls in this consciousness. Khanda chinmatram. Param tattvam vidurbhuda. This is what enlightened people experience. Now, aheyam anubadeyam mano vacham agocharam aprameyam anadyandam brahma purnam mahatmaha. Aheyam anubadeyam. Aim in which you can reject, ubadhanam you can take. Brahman cannot be taken or rejected. That your status as Brahman is not something achieved by you. That's what you are. Nor can you unbecome Brahman. I am tired of being Brahman. Let me have a break. Can you say that? You cannot. You cannot. You are Brahman. It's not something which adana pradhanam is not there. Receiving and rejection is not possible. You cannot reject your status as Brahman, nor can you receive your status. It's beyond all that. It's your nature. That's the way akeyam anubadeyam. If it's a cap you can remove and you can take it. But your head you cannot remove, isn't it? Your head you cannot remove. I mean in a relative way. Similarly, that your Brahman is not a matter of accepting or rejecting, you say. That's what you are. Choicelessly, you are Brahman, you say. Saheyam anubadeyam manovacham agocharam. Unreachable by the mind, thought. The string of thought doesn't reach Brahman. It is beyond thought. It contains thought. And it is beyond the description also. You cannot describe this, what Brahman is. So, aheyam anubadeyam manovacha ido vajo nivartande tatriya. Aprameyam, immeasurable, anadyantam, we have seen all this, without beginning or end or middle. Ahamatma gudagesha, sarvabhudashaya sthita. Ahamadischa madhyamcha, bhudana mandameva chayasa. Ahamatma gudagesha, sarvabhudashaya sthita. I am the self in all. Aham adischa madhyamcha bhudanam antaevacha. I was in the beginning, I am in the middle, and I shall be there at the end also. That's you. That's it. Continuing. Tattvam padabhyam abhidhiyamanayoh brahmatmanoho shodhidayo yaditham Shrutya tayostattvamasidi samyak ekatvameva pradipadyade muhuhu tattvam padabhyam abhidhiyamanayoh brahmatmanoho shodhidayo yaditham Shrutya tayokta tattvamasidi samyak ekatvameva pradipadyade muhuhu. Now we come to the analysis of Tattvamasi. How do you understand Tattvamasi? Tada, tum, asi. What is tada, what is tum, what is the meaning of asi? These three words we have to analyze, because this seems to be the essence of the Upanishad wisdom. So we will spend some time on the reflection upon the Mahavakya, tada, tum, asi. Three words. What is tada? What is tum? What is the meaning of asi, the connecting asi word, which we will see this evening. And that will be the last lecture in this session. And we have some other work. Where is Kunjalashmi? Kunjalashmi is sleeping, eh? Holly, wake her up. Kunjalashmi is sitting there. Wake up. He is in deep sleep. I am happy with Kunjalashmi because she gets good sleep. When the Vedanta is discussed, that is the only time she sleeps. Yeah? Yeah, Paramananda. So I